Hi, everybody. My name is Tyan Patel, and I'm a partner at Baker Hostetler. It's a U.S. law firm with many offices across the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast. My practice primarily involves technology and IP transactions and portfolio counseling in the high tech, life sciences, and finance sectors. I'm thrilled to be back here at World IP Forum and was delighted when I was invited to give a brief discussion on updates in US patent laws. And in years past, I've done many different topics, and I thought this year it would be nice to spend a couple minutes to inform colleagues around the world about some of the nuances in patent claiming in the United States with respect to means plus function claims. And in the software realm, these types of claims are prevalent, particularly because you have software and it can be difficult to particularly define specific structure that ties to that function. And so in order to broadly do that, even though you do need the structure, there's ways in U.S. patent law to describe aspects in terms of means, and as I will explain during my talk, there are additional terms that rise to a level of what is called a means claim or means plus function limitation in a claim. So with that, if everybody understands what definiteness in the United States is, we'll start with that. It falls under provision of 35 USC 112B under the America Invents Act, or second paragraph under pre-AIA law. And particularly, you have to point out and distinctly claim your invention. So there has to be sufficiency of the claim limitations. And claims that are generally thought of as means plus function, more recently than not, particularly in the software space, this has been ripe grounds for patent challengers to do two things. One, qualify claims as means plus function limitations, and two, attack those claims as being indefinite, and by doing so, render the claim invalid. So more recently, particularly in March, there was a recent precedential opinion that came out from the Federal Circuit, which was called Rain Computing versus Samsung Electronics. And what's interesting to note in this case is that the means plus function limitation with respect to the term module, and in the case itself, the term user identification module was determined to be a means plus function limitation. And so just to back up a little bit, using the term means in a claim invokes a rebuttable presumption that you are in fact using means plus function claiming strategies. When you don't use the term means, generally that presumption does not exist. But the case law has been shifting towards identifying words, particularly in the software space, to be equivalent to the term means. And case law recently has more likely than not been suggesting that terms that use or claims that use the term module in their recitation of function will be qualified as means plus function claiming. And once the courts construe the claim to be a means plus function limitation, the courts then must go about and do two things. So once the courts determine that a claim term invokes means plus function, then what it must do is it must be construed via two steps. One, the courts must identify the claimed function, and then two, the courts must determine what, if any, structure corresponds to the function. Importantly here, when the function is performed by a general process computer or a microprocessor, the second step of the inquiry requires the specification to disclose the algorithm which is executed by the computer in order to accomplish that function. And that's an important message to drive home, that when you are drafting patent applications in the computer space, and even if you are not strategically using means plus function claiming strategies, if the claim was to be construed as a means plus function claim and there was not an algorithm present in the specification, it is possible that the claim term itself would be construed to be invalid for indefiniteness, and that would plague the claim itself and render the entire claim invalid. So just backtracking a little bit, all of this case law has developed extensively after Williamson, which is a Federal Circuit opinion from 2015. And just wanted to recite the actual phrase I think that's important to take home here, is that under 112 paragraph 6, a patentee may draft claims as means or steps for performing a specified function without the recital of structure, material, or acts in support thereof. But the claims are construed to cover only the structure, materials, or acts described in the specification as corresponding to the claimed function and equivalence thereof. What does that mean? Simply put, that means if you are defining function, you must clearly have some structural support, that being typically your algorithm that is executed by the computer or the processor of the computer. I think the Rain case, which just came out in March and is precedential, was deemed to be presidential because the term module is considered a nonce word similar to means. Moreover, there has never been a judgment from the courts that said that method claims are immune from being construed as means plus function claiming, meaning that means plus function constructions could only occur in apparatus and system type claims. In this Rain opinion, which came out in March, there was an argument that was raised by the patentee that the patent office had even deemed that the claims were not amenable to 112 6 paragraph or 112F because they were method claims. And the Federal Circuit came down hard on this particular argument that was raised by the patentee, indicating that there has never been a distinction between system claims and method claims when trying to use means plus function claiming strategies in addition to construction of terms under means plus function claiming. Yeah, that's my end of my discussion on 112F for means plus function claiming and indefiniteness. I think the take-home message here is if you have software applications, be sure to fully describe the algorithms to ensure that there is structural support. And in addition to ensuring that your claims, if they were to be construed under means plus function claiming, that they would not be invalidated for being indefinite. There are a lot of issues that my colleagues and I review, particularly in our post-grant practice, for trying to poke holes in claims to try and invalidate them when we are defending challengers. We also are using similar strategies when trying to advise our clients who are being challenged by these types of arguments. So it's been a pleasure talking with you for just a few minutes, and I look forward to the next time I get to see everybody at the World IP Forum. And until then, I hope everybody stays safe and healthy. Take care. Bye-bye.